Do not show it on stream, but have you seen the video of the Palestinian man who died of malnutrition? He looked like a skeleton covered in skin. They showed it on Middle East Eye, and I think it's important for people to realize that this is Auschwitz shit. Things we saw in history class. Do people realize how horrific the conditions need to be for an adult to die of malnutrition? Yeah. It takes a very long time of no food to kill you from starvation. A really long time. Especially in this day and age when the world is actually chubbier than we were historically. So you're talking about 30, 45 days of no calories. To starve people to death now in this modern era is an intentional act always. People don't die from starvation unless they have been determined by somebody with money that they want them to starve. Without Fed posting, the Western left has not done nearly all. What left? Our trade unions have been annihilated. Our protest groups have been declared illegal. There's 8 fucking prescription laws against communism in the US. We have no political party of any note. The Labor Party committed suicide to prevent a social democrat. They handed the keys over to Donald Trump to support this genocide. Do you understand that? Kamala Harris, staring at the keys of the White House, said, I'd rather do a genocide than be president of the United States. That was her decision. I don't mean this stream to be a doomer stream. My stream is a realist stream, and I try to tell the truth, and I'm always trying to find a path to walk. And sometimes we make a decision and we walk down a path and we realize that it's closed and we have to turn back. And every step we take back to the fork in the road is a step backwards. And that's where we're at. You and I failed for a variety of reasons. We failed in 2016. We failed in 2020. We failed in 2024. And the reason why the left has failed is because of our lack of confidence and our trust in liberalism. You think that liberals are lesser evils than conservatives. That is your mistake. Your mistake is believing that we have allies in the liberal Zionist movement or we have allies in the liberal movement. We do not. They hate you more than they hate the fascist right doing a death camp right now. That's facts. The fact that you think regular people deserve health care, they hate you more than they hate Nazis mass killing children. That is fucking true. I'm sorry. It's insane. I can't believe it's true. It makes no sense. You mean making rich people pay 5% more in taxes is worse to you than mass killing babies? They pick mass killing babies. Don't be confused. That's the truth. Now, I'm not talking about voters. The voters don't know what the fuck they're voting for. Let's be honest. The average Democrat and the average Republican has no fucking idea what they vote for. It's symbolic. It is not democratic. They show up, they make the decision, and all the important debates happen without their input. That's why they're fucking mauling over Zoran. They're mauling over Zoran because he wasn't a part of the plan. He's not allowed to say that Israel is an apartheid. He's not allowed to say that we can have more social safety nets and social services. That's why they're all mauling. And I want you to understand, chat, and I mean this to Sam Cedar, and I hope he sees this. Your philosophy of politics is discredited, Sam. To vote blue no matter who, you got to vote for Kamala. We can do entryism in the Democratic Party is a discredited movement. They are trying to defeat Zoran Mamdani with moderate social democracy plans in favor of a sex criminal and Donald Trump collaborator. Pick one. The leaders of the National Democratic Party refuse to endorse someone who won a landslide in the primary. They hate you, Sam Cedar, which I tried to tell you for years and years and years. This is, we should honestly, if you want to see a debate, let's go watch my debate I had with Sam Cedar in 2020 when I told him what would happen when Joe Biden won. That every single right-wing Democrat was going to come into office, and you know what they're going to do? They're going to target the left, and that's exactly what they did. They stopped the squad growth in its tracks. They spent 4 years targeting Nina Turner, targeting Cori Bush, targeting Jamal Bowman targeting who was running in Wisconsin in 2022. Mandela Barnes. They spent their entire 4 years targeting and trying to destroy the left. That's all they fucking did. And then they handed the fucking country to Trump, as I told you they would. It is what it is. Jessica Cisnero in Texas. Nancy Pelosi went down to campaign for MAGA collaborator Henry Cuellar in Texas. The sitting Democratic congressman lost a primary, and then he endorsed the Republican against Kara Eastman in Omaha, Nebraska. They attacked FDR's VP's grandson in Pennsylvania 1st District to throw the race to a Republican. The Democratic Party nationally whipped the AFL-CIO to endorse a Republican, and PA won behind the scenes. The Democratic Party is dedicated to the defeat of social democracy with more verve and more energy than they are defeating Trumpism. And it's not even close. In India Walton won in Buffalo. What happened? The New York Democratic Party united around a write-in campaign for the right-wing corrupt mayor, uniting with Republicans to defeat her with millions of dollars of outside billionaire MAGA money. Do I need to go on? DSA aligned progressives won control of the Nevada Democratic Party. National Democrats and local centrist Democrats conspired, and they stole all the money out of the bank accounts of the party, bankrupting it right before power was handed over. These are facts, facts, facts. You don't want to deal with the Democratic Party as it is. You want to fantasize about a Democratic Party that's playing by the rules. All we have to do is go in and win the debate and win the votes, and the Democratic Party centrists will say, hey, I disagree with you, but it's more important that we defeat the Republicans. They don't believe that. The centrist neoliberal Democrats despise you. I mean, I just saw Ezra Klein go on the All In podcast. He treated Sam like shit, bad faith. Wouldn't answer any of Sam's questions about who the enemies are in the Democratic Party. Then he went to the All In podcast and sucked the dicks of MAGA billionaires. Now, I know a lot of people hear what I'm saying and they go, well, Mike, you know, we got to win now to stop fascism. We can't win with these people. They want you to be defeated because they know that their policies are unpopular and will lead to defeat, and they don't care. They care more about billionaires and donors getting their way. They'd rather lose to Trump than win. You're allying with people that are stabbing you in the back. The answer is, Mike, what do? Stop saying vote Democrat if the Democrat sucks. That's number one. Number two is recognizing that these people are our enemy, not Democrats, by the way, not regular people. I get that this is a confusion that a lot of people have. I'm not saying that people that vote Democrat are bad. They don't know what they're voting for. Let's be honest. They don't know. I'm not saying this to be an elitist. I'm saying this as a fact. They don't know what they're voting for. They were voting for Barack Obama, and he tried to cut Social Security and Medicare. He failed because the right-wing Republicans didn't want to give Obama a, quote, win. When you voted for Obama, were you voting for Social Security and Medicare cuts? That's what he tried to enact. I don't have an easy answer for you because, unfortunately, the left-wing people that we have leading our country are cowardly and they're not that bright. I don't know what else to say. I wish it weren't so, but it is. And when you see a talented, intellectually gifted man, empathetic man in New York City win the mayor's race, he did so on his own, by the way. AOC and Bernie Sanders only jumped on the end to steal credit. He won that race before they endorsed. They were not there. They didn't build shit. They jumped on at the end to steal credit. Let's be fucking honest. And the first thing they do is they yell at him that he's got to moderate on globalize the intifada, which is not something he ever said. The disgusting parasite Brad Lander did the same shit. I don't know. When I hear globalize the intifada, it makes me think of Jews being massacred in the middle of a fucking genocide where 1 million children are starving. That should be disgusting. But guess what? I'm the frothing asshole for saying it. We're going to get into this more. Let's finish this video. We'll get into it more. Actually, you know what? Let's get into it now. The reason why I'm so pissed off this morning is AOC made what amounted to the worst public statement I've ever seen by a progressive figure and united the left in hatred and disapproval. When I saw it, I was apoplectic. What a fucking loser. I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say about this, but I'll try. So there was a vote by Marjorie Taylor Greene, or an amendment to end the funding for the Iron Dome. And 6 people voted for it. 4 progressives and 2 right-wingers. Marjorie Taylor Greene, and I think it was, what's his name? The libertarian guy, Massey. There was also, it was Ilhan Omar, Summer Lee, Rashida Tlaib, Al Green, Massey, and Marjorie Taylor Greene. Only 6 votes in favor of cutting off Iron Dome funding. Now, ultimately, all the Democrats voted against the bill. All right. So every Democrat voted, I think every Democrat, except maybe a couple, voted against the bill. But for a bill that wanted to amend the bill to remove Iron Dome funding, only 6 Congress people voted for it. Summer Lee, the socialist from Pittsburgh, the best rep we have, Rashida Tlaib, 1B, my second favorite or favorite rep, depending. She is a Palestinian American. I'll talk about it more. But the reality is, there is no justification for funding this. Does anybody have the Marjorie Taylor Greene speech? I actually want to show you it.
The chair recognizes the gentleman from Georgia.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As the House considers the defense appropriation bill today that costs the American people $831 billion, it's important to talk about that this is the funding for our great men and women serving in our military and our nation's defense. The Department of Defense's mission statement is to deter war and ensure our nation's security, and that is worthy of the American people's hard-earned tax dollars. However, the American people are $37 trillion in debt, so this is money that is being spent that they already don't have. My amendment would strike $500 million in funding for nuclear-armed Israel's missile defense system. And it's important to phrase it that way. Israel is a nuclear-armed nation, which is very capable of defending themselves, and they have been proving that so as we've watched on the world stage. The U.S. already provides Israel with $3.8 billion annually in foreign aid. $3.8 billion, that's a lot of money. Additionally, the April 2024 security supplemental included $8.7 billion for Israel. That is nuclear-armed Israel. And during the recent 12-day war, the U.S. used 15 to 20% of our terminal high-altitude area defense missiles stockpiles defending nuclear-armed Israel, which cost us over $800 million. The $500 million provided in this bill will fund Israel's, that is nuclear-armed Israel's, missile defense system, the Iron Dome, David Sling, Arrow system. Yet Israel is a nuclear-armed nation. That's a pretty big deterrent for any of their enemies. Any nation that has a nuclear bomb has the greatest threat against their enemies. U.S. aid typically accounts for 15 to 20% of Israel's defense budget, even though Israel, nuclear-armed Israel, has universal health care for their citizens and subsidized college for their citizens. They're able to
Tuition in Israel is $2,000 a year.
Provide that. However, here in America, we're $37 trillion in debt. My amendment to strike $500 million in foreign aid will ensure an America First Department of Defense, and that is exactly what we need and we haven't had for a very long time. Mr. Speaker, I reserve.
Gentlelady reserves.
Now, I want you to understand something, chat. That if I see someone using the phrase anti-Semitism in relation to Israel, I will ban you. You're fucking useless and I don't want you here. Get the fuck out. If you think talking about money going to Israel's defense and the word anti-Semitism comes to your mind, eat shit, fuck you, leave, unfollow, get the fuck out. And I hate Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie Taylor Greene fucking sucks. But everything she just said, as far as America's massively in debt, we're spending $800 quadrillion on the budget, and Israel has subsidized college, $2,000 a year. They have universal health care that, by the way, covers abortions and IVF and therapy. Universal health care paid for by the American tax dollars. Shut the fuck up about anti-Semitism. It's not anti-Semitism to not want to fund a country's military defense that's doing a genocide. Shut the fuck up. Stop acting like anti-Semitism is some sort of massive problem in America. It's not. It absolutely is not. Does anti-Semitism exist? Yes. Is anti-Semitism bad? Yes. But let's stop with this bullshit, okay? There is a genocide going on. Our military is doing it. And you're going to give them space to talk about anti-Semitism that doesn't exist while a people is being annihilated with your tax dollars and your military? Shut the fuck up. Marjorie Taylor Greene's amendment does nothing to cut off offensive aid to Israel, nor end the flow of U.S. munitions being used in Gaza. Of course I voted against it. What it does do is cut off defensive Iron Dome capacities while allowing the actual bombs killing Palestinians to continue. I have long stated that I do not believe that adding to the death count of innocent victims to this war is constructive to its end. That is a simple and clear difference of opinion that has long been established. I remain focused on cutting the flow of U.S. munitions that are being used to perpetuate the genocide in Gaza. The Iron Dome is used to perpetuate the genocide in Gaza because it gives Israel impunity. And I replied to this tweet pissed me off so much, I replied 3 times, chat. I replied 3 times to this tweet because it pissed me off so fucking much. The first thing I said was, let me see if I can find it here. Would giving anti-aircraft flak cannons to Nazi Germany have made sense? Oh, guys, I'm against the Holocaust, but I don't think any innocent Germans should be killed in this terrible war. That's why America needs to send anti-aircraft flak towers to Nazi Germany. Are you fucking kidding me? And when you send money to Israel so they can buy anti-aircraft missiles, then they have other money that they can then use to buy bombs. You are enhancing Israel's military arms and equipment so that it can perpetuate a genocide without any retaliation, without any regional response. That's why the United States, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Iraq intercepted the missiles heading from Iran and the drones heading from Iran. That was to prevent Israel from suffering a deterrent. And where were those missiles and drones going? Those missiles and drones were going to attack Israel's military bases, its aircraft bases, its runways, its hangars, its bomb depots, the headquarters of the military, the headquarters of Mossad. It was a counterforce strike by Iran, attempting to degrade Israel's ability to wage war on the Gazan people. And so we gave them the military equipment they could to resist that attack so they could sustain their attack on Gaza, dummy. And I said, this is a painfully childish analysis. Either you are attempting to do something for purely cynical reason, or your advisors are some of the most incompetent in Washington. I want you to understand something, chat. She's stupid. On this policy, it is stupid. Why? And pro-Israel people despise her. They're never going to support her for anything. If she tries to run for president, they're going to spend billions against her. If she tries to run for Senate, they're going to spend billions against her because she doesn't support Israel unreservedly. So she's not winning over anybody. She is never going to get supported by AIPAC. She's never going to be supported by the Zionist entity or its lobby. She's going to be opposed maximally. How do I know? The same thing happened to Bernie Sanders. They call her an anti-Semite in the replies anyway. So she's effectively capitulating on this for nothing. Because if you're pro-Israel, then you consider her to be an anti-Semite who wants to destroy Israel. You get nothing. So that's why it's stupid, right? She's pissing off me. But there was a tweet that showed everybody from all segments of the left was roasting her ass. From sock dem, secular talk, all the way to the tankiest tanky, and everybody in between was roasting her ass. She was getting hate from every single angle. 16,000 replies, by the way. Thank you, chat, for finding it. The entire spectrum of Twitter left jumped her ass. AOC, this view is wrong. Bankrolling an apartheid state that occupies, genocides its neighbors is bad. Even if those bankrolls go to missile interceptors, Israel should bear the full fiscal cost of its misdeeds, so it's less likely to pursue future invasions and occupations. This is painfully childish analysis. Either you're attempting to do something for a purely political, cynical reason, or you have your advisors are some of the most incompetent in Washington. Secular talk. This is pathetic. We shouldn't be providing offensive or defensive munitions to Israel. They could defend themselves just fine. I voted against the resolution cutting off ties with Hitler because it would leave Nazi Germany defenseless while doing nothing to stop the killing of his victims. You voted to keep funding a genocide. Of course you voted against it. You're a useless coward without any principles. Bernie Sanders and AOC are liberal Zionist scum. Reject liberal Zionism and embrace Palestine liberation. There is no such thing as defensive military aid. When you give Israel the military infrastructure that ensures it can do its genocide and launch its wars against Lebanon, Yemen, Iran, Syria with full impunity, you are directly and intentionally funding and arming the genocide. Why do Nazis deserve my money for defense? Being a Zionist politician for free is insane. You're lying and we don't care about the Iron Dome. Insane that you do. You've lost your mind and abandoned your base. You're such a fucking coward. I'm at the point of believing we need homo saccharine figures that we keep around to show we can so quickly become if we fold on hardline stance. This isn't a hardline stance. This is basic common sense. And this is why I said what I said, which is you have bad advisors because either you don't understand the military, you have such a pathetic understanding of military logistics and fiscal policy that you think that this makes sense, that you could just fund defensive weapons. And your advisors don't realize that you're going to get no support from anyone from this. You walked out into a no man's land and got machine gunned by all sides. It's incompetent. The pro-Zionists are not going to support you ever because you criticize Israel and call it a genocide, dummy. And everybody else who recognizes it as a genocide is going to be, they want to sanction and embargo Israel. We want to deny them civilian military, civilian economic aid. We don't want them to be able to trade, let alone get fucking arms. Are you insane? So what are you talking about? It doesn't make any sense. And I'm sorry to get so fired up. It's because I want to be able to support AOC that I'm so pissed off because this is goddamn incompetent. This is goddamn incompetent and evil. And then I made another post, and this is what really pissed me off. What really pissed me off. Every time I come back to this post, it angers me more. Rashida Tlaib, the only Palestinian American congresswoman, voted for the anti-Iron Dome funding amendment. Ilhan Omar and Summer Lee, a socialist from Pittsburgh, also voted for it. AOC is implicitly attacking them. She's implying that Rashida Tlaib and Summer Lee and Representative Green, both of them, are trying to get Israeli civilians killed. That's what she's implying. So not only is she making a decision that's politically vacuous and stupid, she also came out and made a statement. Now, she could have just voted against it and kept her mouth fucking shut. And this is why I think she's incompetent or her staff needs to be replaced. Is because if she had just voted against it and somebody asked her, she'd be like, I don't want to support Marjorie Taylor Greene because she is a scumbag. And people would have let that go. They would have been like, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Right? They would have let it go. But she came out and she defended funding the Iron Dome. And she stabbed her fellow leftists in the back. Absolutely pathetic. Absolutely. And it's worthless because the vast majority of young people despise Israel and want us to stop giving them weapons. The vast majority of Americans don't want us to stop giving them weapons, and they want a ceasefire right now. And I think it is among Democrats that are less than 45 years old, 47% favor Palestine over Israel. Net, plus 47. It was incomprehensibly stupid. And this is what concerns me about AOC. That's why I said she's a 5-star prospect that's barely hanging on to a starting role. because she's not very good at social media. I want to be dead honest with you. AOC is not that good at social media. She's not. The reality is she was able to get in 2018, and we talked about her because she was left wing and she was young and she was good looking. And so she got boosted by us. She was never good at social media. She had 1 or 2 good videos she posted for her campaign, but she was never good at social media. That's the reality. Zoran was good at social media. Zoran became a national media figure because of his social media. And she has not, as much as I want this to be true, emerged as a good legislator, as a good party apparatchik, as a good leader of the left. That's the reality. I'm sorry, but it's true. And it's hard for me because I want to like AOC. I want to be able to support AOC. But the truth is she is not living up to the hype. And posts like this show a complete disconnection from her socialist base, a complete lack of ability to read the room, and are dangerously out of touch. I don't know what else to say. I'm reading her the riot act. I want to be able to say AOC is good, but she has failed. And this post is a quintessential example of utter failure. I hope Zoran is seeing this and realizing that these dumb fucking liberal Zionists positions have no juice and are likely to undermine his campaign. I hope he's not listening to these fucking idiots. And also, what war? What war? It is a Holocaust against a non-state people at a concentration camp. Now, I think a lot of people will want me to be like, oh, AOC is a liberal opportunist. Oh, I hate AOC or whatever the fuck. I don't like any of them. You want me to be honest? I don't like anyone. I don't trust anyone. My chosen profession is politics. The reason why I'm different than many other people in politics is I only care about policy. I show solidarity with people that are with me on policy, and if they don't, then they get none. That makes me different. A lot of people become parasocial and they become attached. I lack those feelings. I will not throw anybody into the dumpster if I can use them. That is my position. That will continue to be my position.